The first step in assembling your Eley garden hose reel is attaching the front flange to the rear flange of the hose reel. The back flange is the solid flange that does not have a cutout or hole in it. You'll notice the back flange has 4 pre-installed cage nuts. When installing the front flange to the rear flange, it's important to locate the 2 pins on the front flange and the 2 sockets located on the rear flange. They are designed to nest into each other so that the mounting holes are all lined up. Next, we will take the M6 by 20 hex socket cap screw, and we will install those into the 3 holes that were equal distant apart. We will take the wrench that was supplied with the hose reel and use the smaller end of that to screw the 3 screws together. They screw just clockwise as you would tighten them down. They can be fully screwed down tight. Installing the handle that comes with the hose reel, the first step is to remove the pre-installed screw from the rod that the handle assembly rides on. Should be able to unthread the screw by hand. If not, you'll want to grab the wrench that came with the hose reel and simply install it and unthread the screw. This handle assembly is just a couple of pieces. It's the knob, it's the rod or shaft, and the screw. You will take the handle assembly and you will simply install it into the hole in the front flange of the reel. The screw will be brought in from the back side, and you can start it by hand and thread it down as tight as you finally grab your wrench. And again, using the smaller end of the wrench, you will firmly tighten it down. You can again snug that up fully, and you'll be done with installation of the handle assembly to the flange of the reel. We then grab the arm and axle assembly. We are going to remove the 2 pre-installed screws and the flat washers from the base of the arm. You'll set those off to the side momentarily. The base of this arm has a pair of cage nuts or nuts pre-installed with a nut holder there so that you can install those without any additional tool or device necessary. We will flip the base over. We will take the arm assembly and place it just underneath the base mount. We'll drop the screws into the holes, line up the screws and the pre-installed nut to the arm. There is a cutout here where the wrench will fit through the arm. When you are lined up, you can simply rotate the wrench and tighten it. Don't do it fully until you get them both installed. Go ahead and tighten the arm all the way down, or the nut all the way down. Take the male end of the inlet hose, we'll run it through the axle. The rest of the hose will hang out the back. We will take the flange assembly and we will install it to the axle of the reel by simply sliding the axle on. Next, we will install the cam lever brake assembly into the front flange of the reel. Notice there is a stud that is designed to rest in a cutout on the front flange. The brake should just slide right over the end of the axle, and you can set the brake on if you'd like, and it will hold everything in place. We will then attach the brass swivel to the inlet hose assembly. Simply take the male end of the hose and the female end of the swivel will thread right into the hose. Make sure that you get it as tight as you can. Hand tight generally is enough. You might take a pair of pliers to snug that even a little bit further than hand tight. If you ever have a leak coming through the reel, this is the part that needs to be tightened further to make sure that it isn't a loose connection. After you've assembled that, we will pull the back of the inlet hose so that we can get the silver aluminum collar threaded into the axle. It threads on clockwise. It will thread on probably 6 or 7 motions. When the collar is threaded all the way on and tight, the brake assembly should remain in place and will not fall out of its rested position. At this point, we have the hose reel assembled.